Motorized blinds are one of the best investments you can make in your home, until you clean them wrong and damage the motor or ruin the fabric. This episode is going to walk you through exactly how to maintain and clean motorized blinds so they look great and keep working perfectly for years. We'll cover fabric types, dusting routines, spot cleaning, what absolutely never to do, and when to call a professional. First, understand what makes motorized blinds different from regular blinds when it comes to cleaning. The fabric itself, whether it's a roller blind fabric, a zebra blind material, or a solar shade, is generally similar in cleaning requirements to any other window blind. The critical difference is the motor and the headrail electronics. These components are sensitive to moisture. Water and electronics don't mix, and even a small amount of water getting into the motor housing can cause malfunction, corrosion, or complete failure. So the first rule of cleaning motorized blinds is very simple. Keep moisture away from the headrail and the motor end, always. The most common cleaning situation, dust. In any home, dust accumulates on window treatments. It's a fact of life. Fabric blinds attract dust because of static, and in a city like Toronto, where windows are often open in spring and fall, dust and pollen settle on the fabric constantly. For regular dust removal, the best tool is a vacuum cleaner with a soft brush attachment set to the lowest suction setting. Lower the blind fully so the fabric is taut and stable. Starting from the top, move the brush gently down the fabric in slow strokes. Go with the weave of the fabric, not against it. On a zebra blind, follow the direction of the alternating strips. The goal is to lift dust off the surface, not push it into the fabric. Gentle, slow strokes work better than fast, aggressive ones. If you don't have a vacuum with a brush attachment, a dry microfiber cloth works well for light dust. Wipe gently from top to bottom. Microfiber picks up dust electrostatically. It actually attracts dust particles rather than just moving them around. A feather duster moves dust off the blind and into the air where it settles somewhere else. Not ideal. A compressed air can, the kind used for cleaning electronics, can also be effective for getting dust out of woven textures like solar shade fabric. How often should you dust? In a typical Toronto home, a monthly dusting is sufficient to keep blinds looking fresh. If you have pets, live near a busy road, or tend to open windows often, every 2 to 3 weeks is better. The more frequently you dust, the less dust builds up and bonds to the fabric, and the easier each cleaning session is. If you let dust accumulate for 6 months, it compacts into the weave and becomes much harder to remove without proper cleaning. Spot cleaning, how to handle marks and stains. Life happens. A splash of coffee, a child's fingerprint, something from a nearby plant. When a spot appears on your motorized blind fabric, address it quickly. Fresh stains are always easier to remove than set ones. The method is the same for most roller blind and zebra blind fabrics. Dampen a clean white cloth. Use white to avoid color transfer with lukewarm water. Add a tiny drop of mild dish soap if the mark is oily or stubborn. Blot the stain. Don't rub. Rubbing spreads the stain sideways and can push it deeper into the fabric weave. Blot from the outside edge of the stain toward the center. This prevents the stain from spreading, then blot with a clean, damp cloth to rinse, and finally with a dry cloth to absorb excess moisture. After spot cleaning, again this is important, leave the blind fully lowered and let the cleaned area air dry completely before rolling it back up. Rolling up damp fabric traps moisture inside the roll. In a warm environment, this causes mold and mildew to develop, and the fabric develops an odor and discoloration that can be very difficult to remove. Let it dry fully. This might take a few hours depending on how wet the area got. Be patient. It's worth it. What never to do when cleaning motorized blinds. Never spray water or any cleaning product directly onto the blind. The spray drifts and moisture can reach the headrail and motor. Always apply cleaning solutions to your cloth first, not to the blind directly. Never submerge the fabric in water. Motorized blind fabrics are not designed to be washed. The stiffeners and coatings that give them their structure and opacity break down when submerged. Never use bleach, ammonia-based cleaners, or any abrasive cleaning product on blind fabric. These can discolor, weaken, or permanently damage the material. Never take the blind down and put it in a washing machine. This will almost certainly damage the fabric, the tube, and potentially the motor components. Never use a steam cleaner on motorized blinds. Steam and electronics are a very bad combination. What about the motor and mechanism itself? The motor housing and the headrail can be wiped with a dry or very slightly damp cloth to remove dust from the exterior surfaces. The chain or remote mechanism, if there is one for manual override, can be gently cleaned with a slightly damp cloth. If the motor sounds different than usual, grinding, hesitating, making noise it didn't before, don't try to fix it yourself. Call the company that installed it. Motor issues are almost always covered under warranty if they're reported promptly and the blind hasn't been misused. When to call a professional. If your blind has a significant stain that spot cleaning hasn't resolved, call us. Some fabrics can be carefully deep cleaned by a professional with the right equipment. Others may need to be replaced, and we'll tell you honestly which situation you're in. If the blind is visually dirty across a large area, not just a spot, and it's important to you that it looks pristine, a professional cleaning assessment is the right step. And if there's any mechanical issue, motor not responding, blind not rolling evenly, unusual sounds, get it looked at before it becomes a bigger problem. Regular maintenance keeps motorized blinds looking new and operating perfectly for many years. Monthly dusting, prompt attention to spots, and avoiding moisture near the mechanism. That's really all it takes. Joe's Blinds is always here for advice, cleaning assessments, or service calls. We stand behind every installation we do. Give us a call.